Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. 10-year-old Cassius Daniels knows exactly who she is, a mermaid princess. But trapped in a body her father refuses to understand, bullied at school, and battling gender dysphoria, life feels like one long chokehold. Desperate and unraveling, Cass fills a backpack with rocks and walks into the lake. The film is Mermaid, and we're joined today by the director and writer, Fia Perera. Fia, welcome to Cinemophile.
Oh, thank you, Mike, for having me.
Yeah, it's a terrific film, and just a lot of very compelling elements in it, terrific performances all around. It's a little bit of Wizard of Oz. There's a little Dorothy on the road to trying to
Yes,
figure things out.
right.
Well done. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind Mermaid.
First, this is a passion project that I have actually been working on for about 10 years. And I wrote the first versions of it. I fell in love with the documentary Paris is Burning, featuring Pepper LaBeija. And I fell in love with the idea that this incredible person became the den mother to so many of these children and literally saved their lives. And it was interesting. So you see, I created my own kind of inspiration for Mermaid, was this character of Pepper that becomes this mother figure in a way to Cassie. The acceptance, understanding, and seeing this child as who they want to be. And so that was one of the inspirations. And it also was inspired from different other parents, people that I've spoken to, real stories. So it's like a tapestry of all their stories coming together. Seeing, I wanted to have the feeling and the scene through the lens of a child and what they're experiencing, and the magic the magic of what they experience when they come into this world of possibility.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to lean into some of that magical realism. So I wanted to be able to address the issues that are going on, but do it in a way that is it's human, it's fun, it's exciting, it deals with hard issues, but it's done in a journey and their experience. So that was my inspiration.
Since you mentioned that Cassius eventually ends up in a club that is a drag queen club, and we meet Pepper, played by Arturo Luíz Soria, who becomes a mentor of sorts, someone of a safe haven, if you will, for her. That's certainly a very, very important part of the film, that dynamic. And I thought that it unfolds beautifully. I thought the way that develops into something more, a very reluctant mentor, if you will,
Yes.
and not really interested at all, as does a lot of times in really good movies. They don't start out with the best of friends, but eventually they begin to see each other and understand each other, and that grows from there. Yeah, congratulations on casting Arturo in this film, because obviously very important to the success of it. Where did you find him? How did he come across to you?
Arturo, actually, we had the pleasure of working with Finley Davidson, our casting director. She is incredible. She works on huge shows and a lot of big movies, and she took this on because she loved it and felt very passionate about the subject matter. She found Arturo. Arturo is a gift. Arturo, it went to Yale School of Drama. Has won multiple awards for Mi Madre, his one-man show about his mother.
Mm.
And when I was looking, I'm sorry, it's Mimi Madre, not Timi Madre, Mimi Madre.
Okay.
And so when we found him, he was a discovery. I was looking for an older 58-year-old African-American actor to play Pepper. And then he just came in my Zoom window and blew me away. One of my favorite movies from years ago was A Fantastic Woman. I believe that was what it was called, about the trans woman in that beautiful story. I think it was in Venezuela or one of those places. And it was just a beautiful movie. Arturo reminded me of her, and he was channeling his mother. He had this fire. He was muy caliente. He was just beautiful. He was fun. He was He was electrifying. And he made Pepper his own. And it was such a gift working with him because he really, all of his isms, everything. I said, you are Pepper. I want you to fill every sinew, every cell of yourselves with, you are this character. Just so if you need to improv with some of, the different sayings and things, go for it. And he was fantastic,
Yeah.
wonderful collaborator.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned in the introduction that Cassius is dealing with gender dysphoria, certainly all of the things that come along with that, the social pressure, the family pressure to conform. That dynamic between her and her father, which was beautifully played. I have to say, it's oftentimes these kind of characters turn into kind of cartoons. And I thought that it's Nat Faxon that plays her father, who did a wonderful job. I didn't think his arc was so dramatic as to kind of throw the film out of kilter. I thought the way that it was handled, and that's partly because of your direction, but I also thought it was a key role and something that needed to be done, hit the right tone. I want to talk about him as well because I really think that's kind of the key to the film in a lot of ways.
Nat Faxon is, I love Nat Faxon. And I cannot wait to work with him on other projects. I think
Mm.
he is just a gem of a person. And again, that was Finley Davidson. Made that happen. I mean, I just can't go, just enough props and so much gratitude towards her. But Nat grew up in Gloucester. So he knows that the landscape of Massachusetts. And even though this isn't about Massachusetts, it's not. The place is a character in that it is emblematic of many places in our country which have many different sides of opinions. Now people react to these issues, right? This is not red versus blue. It's about humanity. It's about people. And I wanted to make sure that Nat and his take on it, which he really embraced, was very real. He loves his child,
Yeah,
loves Cass. He is struggling. He's underwater. There's a part of him, Cassie is sneaking out all these things, but he's not paying attention. But there's a part of him that doesn't want to really know because he doesn't know how to deal with it.
right.
And he's lost his wife. There's all these things. And I wanted to create a character. And I think he really did such a beautiful job that isn't cliche in a wife beater with a cigarette, with a beer in a trailer park. He
Right.
lives in a nice house. He has manages the marina. He's not, that typical character that we see
Sure.
that's kicking his kid out because they're this way. He's like a lot of people that are struggling, and it doesn't matter what class they are or any of that. So he really brought a lot of humanity and depth and love to this kid. When he's really, I love that scene when they're fixing the car together. And
Yeah.
Cass is like, the Pep Boy thing. They have their little things, and he just wants to be able to connect with his child. And he's clearly having problems. And you see that at the end, he can't get through.
Right.
He
Well,
finds a way to come around. And
right. Well, in the sense of he's lost his wife, who wouldn't be unprepared if that were the dynamic in the family. Mom was home taking care of the kids, and he was out earning a living. He wants to make sure that Cassius is being that she's taken care of in the context of the film.
that she wants to, but yes, he doesn't understand that his child wants to
Right.
be this little mermaid,
Right.
and then doesn't understand until he sees at the end
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
everything comes together.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, in terms of
Yes.
just understanding the story, this has been dropped in his life unexpectedly, and he wants to make sure that there's a space for Cassius to live her life. At the same time, he's a father. So a lot of things get away from him in some manner of speaking in his mind. But that's the part that makes this interesting and provocative
Mhm.
and thoughtful film is the characters that we get to know in the film, the characterizations of the way that they are and they live their lives, and staying in that kind of area of where in that zone as a filmmaker of empathizing with the characters along for the ride with the characters, and this film does a very effective job. I love
Thank
the opening of the film. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give
you.
away too much of the end of the film as well. But I just thought it had a really beautiful arc to it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I did want to go back and talk a little, just about the father again, a little bit more about
Sure.
what I really wanted to, and what sometimes I don't see. And that's why I wanted to make this movie. I don't see enough of, when you said sympathizing, I really try to sympathize with characters that I might not like in the
Hmm.
beginning. And you have to, as a writer, you have to figure out a way to love them, to be able to show them in all the dimensions they are, even if they're, some people might think they're hateful in their choices. We understand that he's scared, and that's why he says, people don't understand this, and I want the best for you. It was a really interesting way for us to be able to work I wanted to show that he really wants the best, but he's afraid, like so many parents that don't understand, and they don't, it's scary for them to navigate. So I
Right.
just wanted to mention that too,
Yeah, yeah,
because
absolutely. I want to let people know that Mermaid is going to be screening for its world premiere at CineQuest, and that is a wonderful film festival on March 14th at the Hammer Theater Center in San Jose. It's where this takes place. And also at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema in Mountain View, which is all part of this 2026 CineQuest. And you can go to cinequest.org. That's cinequest.org. Mermaid will be screening on March 14th at 7 p.m. as well as on March 18th. And you can go to cinequest.org. Again, Mermaid will be screening on March 14th as well as on March 18th. So check it out, cinequest.org. I have to say, CineQuest is one of those under the radar film festivals that over the years have really, it's a really good film festival. They do a really good job, I have to say. I'm interjecting my own experience here. I think they do a great job. So congratulations on being there.
thank you. Well, I wanted just to let you know here, Mike, because this for me with CineQuest is a full circle moment. It is because of CineQuest that I got this movie made. I made a short proof of concept, and I showed it. They screened it as part of a special program called the Tapestry of Us. It was part of their diversity and inclusivity panel that they put in front of supporters and different people from Google and different supporters, to kind of show all the things that CineQuest is about. They do a lot of things supporting different communities in addition to the filmmakers. This wonderful woman came up to me. She was very excited. She was like, "Oh my God, I love the short. I would have produced the short." And I said, "Now you can help me with a feature." And that was Sherry Sobrato from the Sobrato Foundation. And they supported the film, she and her nephew, Jeffrey Sobrato, and they helped us with getting the movie done. And it was
Yeah,
because of CineQuest. So here it's a full circle moment that
that's
now we're
great.
coming back after a
That's
couple of years, and we have the feature. And Mike Rebel, that he is the head programmer, lovely man.
see.
We joke around because he watches every single film from the beginning to the end. And I said, "What is your secret?" And he sent me a picture of all the stuff for his eyes, eye drops, because he watches, because
Pride open, yeah.
he really gives the filmmakers
Yeah.
time to see their movies. A lot of programmers, they're so busy, they don't get the chance sometimes to see all the movies that are coming in through their portal. So I'm very grateful for them. They've been very supportive, and yes, they have wonderful films there. I went a couple of years ago with my documentary, Paul and Tricia: The Art of Fluidity, about Paul Whitehead, very famous British artist. And that was a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to it. And the Saturday night slot's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let me say it again. Saturday, March 14th. Did I say that right? Yeah,
Yep.
at 7 o'clock, and then the following Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And by the way, because you brought him up, Serato, there's some serious people here. Jeffrey was the executive producer on Sophia Copeland's Fairyland. They
Mm-hmm.
were also behind the film Porcelain War, involved
An
with that.
amazing
Amazing
film.
film, truly. Yeah, it was fortunate enough to have the directors on for that. So, congratulations on that part of it. That's really great.
Yeah.
And also introducing us to Cassia Devyn McDowell. What a terrific performance. A lot of fun. It looks like you had a lot of fun with the film. I'm sure there's a lot of lighthearted moments on set with the people that you were working with. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're working with a 10-year-old child that wants to zip around on their bike after having a lot of sugar at the craft service table. So And they would be zipping around. I'd say, come back here right now, get right here, stop the bike, stop the, like Pepper. As a director, you're a director, the auteur, but you're also the mother on the set. You're the supporter, the guidance counselor, the therapist at times. They were wonderful. And their mother, Renee, incredible. So it's like, when you're working with kids, you've got their parents with, and she's just amazing. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like you have made the film you wanted to make, which is not always the easiest thing for a director to do. And it feels like you did here.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the film. Congratulations on Mermaid. Congratulations on CineQuest, March 14th, world premiere at the Hammer Theater Center in San Jose. A very, very big city, by the way, in case people have kind of forgotten. San Jose has become quite the metropolitan area. And Via Perera, thank you very much as writer-director of the film Mermaid. Thank you for spending some time with us, and thank you for Mermaid.
Thank you, Mike. And if anybody knows their way to San Jose, get in your car and start driving up on the 13th.
Thank you very much. You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.